Join Joseph as he guides you through spine-tingling tales from around the world, from ghosts to aliens and the truly bizarre. Immerse yourself in the captivating world of true scares. Share your own ghost stories, summon your courage, and perhaps keep a nightlight close. Brace yourself as you tune in to this chilling podcast experience. Remember, it's just a podcast, or is it?
I am Joseph, and we are talking about unsolved mysteries. Let's begin, shall we? Unsolved mysteries are some of the most captivating and terrifying true stories that can be explored in a podcast format. These are cases that have baffled investigators for decades, leaving the public desperate to uncover the truth. Diving deep into the details and theories surrounding these unsolved incidents can make for an engrossing and chilling listening experience. And that, my friends, is what we have today.
Welcome to our podcast where we delve into some of the most horrific real-life events that have happened in the news. From gruesome murders to devastating natural disasters, these stories will shock and disturb you.
I'm Joseph. One of the most famous unsolved mysteries is the Diatlov Pass incident. In 1959, a group of experienced Russian hikers set out to traverse the Ural Mountains. The 9 hikers, led by Igor Dyatlov, were seasoned mountaineers, well equipped for the harsh conditions. However, their bodies were discovered weeks later under highly disturbing circumstances. The hikers' tent had been ripped open from the inside, and their bodies were found scattered around the campsite. Several of the victims exhibited severe injuries that seemed impossible to have occurred in a simple hiking accident. Broken bones, missing eyes, and even radioactive contamination on their clothing. The official Soviet investigation concluded that a compelling unknown force had caused the hikers' death, but the true case has remained a mystery for over 60 years. Theories about what happened range from attack by indigenous Maasai tribespeople to secret military testing gone awry, to a bizarre natural phenomenon like an infrasound event. Some even speculate that the hikers encountered extraterrestrial beings. But with no definitive answers, the Diatlov Pass incident continues to captivate and terrify those who delve into its chilling details. Right back, children, right after this.
True and scary stories from around the world. From strange disappearances to eerie paranormal experiences, Joseph shares stories that will leave you scratching your head. Stay tuned for more chilling tales. True and scary stories, coming up next.
I'm Joseph. Another famous unsolved mystery is the disappearance of the Sutter children in 1945 on Christmas Eve in Fayetteville, West Virginia. The 5 Sutter children, ranging in age from 5 to 17 years old, vanished from their family home in the middle of the night. When the parents George and Jeannie Sutter awoke the next morning, the house was on fire and their children were nowhere to be found. An extensive investigation by law enforcement turned up no evidence of the children's whereabouts or fate. No bodies were ever recovered from the fire. No ransom demands were ever received. The Sutters refused to believe their children had perished in the blaze and spent the rest of their lives searching for answers. But they ultimately took the mystery of what happened to their family to the graves. Theories about the Sutter children's disappearances abound. from the children escaping the fire and being kidnapped, to the fire being deliberately set as a distraction, to the children's bodies being removed from the house, but without any conclusive evidence. This case remains one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in American history. A third chilling unsolved mystery is the identity of the Circularville letter writer. For over a decade, in the 1970s and 80s, the residents of Circularville, Ohio, were terrorized by an anonymous letter writer who seemed to know all their darkest secrets. The letters, sent to various townspeople, contained disturbing and specific details about the recipients' private lives and alleged affairs and crimes. The letters were postmarked from all over the region, making it impossible for authorities to track down the sender. Paranoia gripped the small town as everyone wondered if they were next to receive a threat missing. Investigations were launched, but the true identity of the Circularville letter writer was never conclusively determined. Suspects ranged from disgruntled former lovers to corrupt local officials, but no one was ever charged. The case remains unsolved to this day, leaving the people of Circularville haunted by the memory of the anonymous, all-knowing letter writer who terrorized their community. The inability to ever discover the culprit's identity makes this mystery all the more chilling and compelling. These are just a few examples of unsolved mysteries that have captivated true crime enthusiasts for generations. By delving deeply into the disturbing details, examining the various theories, and highlighting the lack of closure, this podcast on Unsolved Mysteries Today can create an atmosphere of suspense and unease that will leave you hooked. The unanswered questions and eerie unknowns at the heart of these cases make it a captivating true crime podcast episode. I'm glad that I got to talk about that. We're going to come up in the next segment here with haunted locations. I'm Joseph. We will be right back.
True and scary stories from around the world. From strange disappearances to eerie paranormal experiences, Joseph shares stories that will leave you scratching your head. Stay tuned for more chilling tales. True and scary stories, coming up next.
Haunted locations, that's our next segment. Exploring the history and paranormal activity reported at supposedly haunted locations can make for truly chilling content. From grand historical estates to remote wilderness areas, there are numerous places around the world with reputations for being home to ghostly presences and supernatural occurrences. One of the most famous haunted locations is the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. The bizarre and sprawling Victorian mansion was the lifelong project of Sarah Winchester. She was the widow of the firearms tycoon William Wirt Winchester. After the deaths of her husband and infant daughter, Sarah became convinced that the Winchester family was cursed by the spirits of all those healed by Winchester rifle. To appease the spirits, Sarah began an endless renovation of the family's 160-room mansion, working on it ceaselessly for 38 years until her death in 1922. The house is a marvel of architectural oddity. Staircases that lead nowhere, doors that open into walls, and profusion of the number 13 incorporated throughout the design. Visitors and workers at the house have long reported eerie phenomena, including ghostly figures, strange noises, and unexplained shadows. Many believe that Sarah's relentless efforts to expand and modify the house were driven by her belief that the spirits would cease their haunting if she kept building. The sheer vastness and labyrinth nature of the Winchester Mystery House, combined with its dark and troubled history, have cemented its reputation as one of the most haunted and compelling locations in the United States. I'm Joseph. Hang tight, we'll be right back on True and Scary. Another notoriously haunted site is the LaLaurie Mansion in New Orleans, Louisiana. The stunning antebellum home belonged to Delphine LaLaurie, a socialite with a dark secret. She was a serial abuser who routinely tortured and murdered her enslaved servants. In 1834, a fire broke out in the mansion, and firefighters discovered the mutilated remains of LaLaurie's victims in the attic. Delphine LaLaurie and her family fled New Orleans, but the house remained, becoming infamous on the sites of unimaginable cruelty. Over the years, many have reported ghostly activity in the mansion. The screams of tortured souls, shadowy figures moving through the halls, and oppressive aura of malevolence. Some even claim to have encountered the vengeful spirit of Delphine LaLaurie herself, doomed to haunt the site of her horrific crimes. The LaLaurie Mansion's dark history and violent energy have cemented its status as one of the most haunted places in America, with countless accounts of paranormal occurrences from visitors and residents alike. Its grisly past and tortured dead make it truly chilling location to explore on this episode. A final example of a notoriously haunted site is the Island of the Dolls in Oxcamilco, Mexico. This small island in a series of canals was home to a reclusive man named Don Julian Santana Barbera, who spent decades collecting and hanging hundreds of dolls in the trees and buildings, believing it would appease the spirit of a young girl who had drowned nearby. After Don Julian's own suspicious death in 2001, the dolls remained, their lifeless eyes and limbs swaying in the breeze, creating an atmosphere of profound unease. Visitors reporting hearing the dolls whisper, seeing them move on their own, and feeling a dark presence tormenting the island. Some even claim to have encountered the ghost of the young girl whose death precipitated the bizarre and unsettling shrine. The Island of the Dolls' macabre history, eerie aesthetic, and persistent paranormal activity make it a truly unsettling location. Podcast listeners who are intrigued would find captivating to explore. The juxtaposition of innocent children's toys with the island's sinister aura is the stuff of nightmares. I'm Joseph. These are just a few examples of the many haunted locations around the world that could serve as the focus for a chilling true crime podcast episode or a Halloween or October fall getaway. By delving into the histories, legends, and first-hand accounts of these supernatural occurrences in these sites, you can transport to places where the veil between the living and the dead seems dangerously thin. A sense of unease and curiosity evoked by unexplained ghostly phenomena can keep you coming back and hooked, eager to uncover the truth behind these haunted locations. Our next segment, children, creepy urban legends. I'm Joseph. Be right back.
Step into the shadows with Joseph as we unravel spine-tingling tales of the unexplained. From ghostly whispers to encounters from beyond, let's confront the chilling truth together. Facing the unknown can be daunting, but remember, you're never alone in this dark abyss. Are you ready to embrace the eerie and unveil the mysteries?
Welcome back, children. I'm Joseph. Creepy urban legends. Let's get going. Urban legends, those persistent stories of strange, frightening, and seemingly plausible events, can make for captivating content. By examining the origins, cultural significance, and enduring appeal of these creepy tales, I'm going to tap into your deepest fears and human fascination with the unexplained. Join us. One of the most well-known and chilling urban legends is that of Bloody Mary. This ritual in which participants chant Bloody Mary in front of a mirror in a darkened is said to summon the vengeful spirit of a woman who was brutally murdered. Variations of the legend differ, but the general premise is that Bloody Mary will appear in the mirror, either to scratch the summoner's face, drag them into the mirror dimension, or even decapitate them. The exact origins of the Bloody Mary legend are murky, with potential roots in European folklore, witch trials, and even ancient pagan rituals. But the ritual's persistence and the sheer terror it can inspire its participants, especially young people, have solidified Bloody Mary's status as one of the most famous and bone-chilling urban legends. Listeners, I don't want you to have any doubt that I'll be fascinated to explore these various irritations of this legend, the psychology behind this enduring power, and the real-life accounts of those who claim to have encountered Bloody Mary. On to our next creepy urban legend that has gripped the public imagination is the Slender Man.
Step into the shadows with Joseph as we unravel spine-tingling tales of the unexplained. From ghostly whispers to encounters from beyond, let's confront the chilling truth together. Facing the unknown can be daunting, but remember, you're never alone in this dark abyss. Are you ready to embrace the eerie and unveil the mysteries?
This tall, faceless, abnormal, thin, humanoid creature is said to lurk in the shadows, silently stalking and abducting children and teenagers. The Slender Man first emerged on an online horror forum in 2009, but the legend quickly spread across the internet, spurring fan art, short films, and even real-world crimes committed by young people who claim the Slender Man made them do it. What makes the Slender Man legend so chilling is the creature's lack of unidentifiable features, its inhuman proportions, and the sense of inexplicable dread it instills in those who encounter it. The fact that the legend was born in the digital age, disseminated rapidly through the internet, and then manifested in real-world violence adds an extra layer of unsettling cultural commentary. The Slender Man also we can explore its origins, the psychology behind its rapid spread, and the implications of this modern urban legend. A third iconic urban legend that could be ripe for our exploration today is that of the Rake, a malevolent humanoid creature with long, claw-like fingers and insatiable appetite for human flesh. First reported in the early 2000s on internet forums, sightings of the rake have since been documented across North America, with witnesses describing the creature's unnatural movements, inhuman shrieks, and murderous intentions. Unlike Slenderman, which is depicted as more of a silent, stalking predator, the rake is said to be an aggressive and violent entity that actively hunts and attacks its victims. This makes for an even more chilling and visceral urban legend, one that plays on our most primal fears of being violently preyed upon by an unstoppable supernatural force. Delving into the variations rake sightings, the psychological impact of the legend, and the ways it has permitted internet culture could no doubt captivate true crime podcast listeners. That's why today you're listening to me. These are just a few examples of the many creepy urban legends that gripped the public's imagination and could serve as focus for another thrilling true crime podcast episode, which we will have in our next segment. By examining the origins, evaluation, the cultural significance of these persistent supernatural tales, you can tap into the deep-seated human fascination with the unexplained. The sense of unease and curiosity evoked by these chilling legends can keep you hooked and eager to uncover the truth behind the stories that haunt and collective consciousnesses.
Welcome to our podcast where we delve into some of the most horrific real-life events that have happened in the news. From gruesome murders to devastating natural disasters, these stories will shock and disturb you.
Cryptids and mysterious creatures. The hunt for elusive unknown creatures that exist on the fringes of our understanding of the natural world has captivated the public's imagination for centuries. These mysterious cryptids animals are beings whose existence remains unproven, make for thrilling content, and we are going to explore the tantalizing evidence, eyewitness accounts, and enduring cultural significance of these legendary creatures. Perhaps the most famous cryptid of all is Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch. This enormous, hairy, bipedal creature is reported to roam the wilderness areas of North America, leaving behind massive footprints, disturbing howls, and the occasional blurry photographic evidence. Bigfoot sightings date back centuries to the oral traditions of various indigenous people, and the creature has become deeply embedded in popular culture. What makes Bigfoot such a compelling subject for a podcast is the sheer volume of reported encounters, the ongoing hunt for a conclusive proof, and the impassioned debates within the Bigfoot community. Listeners will no doubt be fascinated by the various Bigfoot hotspots across the United States and Canada. The techniques used by investigators to track the creature and the perspectives of both skeptics and true believers. The lingering mystery of global fascination with Bigfoot make it a topic ripe for an in-depth podcast exploration. Another legendary cryptid that has spawned countless stories and investigations is the Loch Ness Monster, or Nessie, said to inhabit the deep, murky waters of Scotland's Loch Ness. Descriptions of the creature range from long-necked, plesiosaur-like beasts to more serpentine eel-like entities. Despite over a century of alleged sightings and photographic evidence, Nessie remains one of the world's most infamous and elusive cryptids. The allure of the Loch Ness Monster lies in the atmospheric setting, the brooding Scottish loch.
Step into the shadows with Joseph as we unravel spine-tingling tales of the unexplained. From ghostly whispers to encounters from beyond, let's confront the chilling truth together. Facing the unknown can be daunting, but remember, you're never alone in this dark abyss. Are you ready to embrace the eerie and unveil the mysteries?
The elusiveness of this creature and the diverse array of theories about its origins, from prehistoric survivors to interdimensional beings. We're going to delve into the history of Nessie, the sightings, and the various expeditions and technologies used to hunt for the creature, and the cultural significance of this legendary beast would no doubt captivate you, eager to uncover the truth behind one of the world's greatest mysteries. A final cryptid that has gripped the public's imagination is the Mothman, a winged humanoid entity reported to hunt the skies around Point Pleasant, West Virginia in the 1960s, described as having glowing red eyes, having a wingspan of 10 feet or more, and an unsettling habit of silently observing witnesses before vanishing. The Mothman has become the subject of numerous books, films, and documentaries. The Mothman legend is particularly chilling due to the connection to a series of tragic events that struck the town, including the collapse of a sewer bridge, which killed 46 people. Many locals believe the Mothman's appearances were a harbinger of these calamities, adding an ominous and foreboding element to the creature's legend. Exploring the various Mothman sightings, the psychological impact on the community, and the lingering mysteries surrounding the winged cryptid is going to make it gripping. These are just a few examples of the many captivating cryptids and mysterious creatures that have captivated the public's imagination and could serve as the focus for which it did on this segment for an enthralling true crime podcast. By delving into the extensive eyewitness accounts, the ongoing scientific debates, and the cultural significance of this legendary beast, a podcast can tap into our innate human fascination with the unknown and unexplained. The sense of mystery, wonder, and unease surrounding cryptids make them ripe for exploration in an immersive audio format. We will talk more in the future about cryptids and all the subjects that we have already spoke of. But first, we have to go to a commercial break for a quick jumper before we continue on with the show. I'm Joseph. Hang tight.
Join Joseph as he guides you through spine-tingling tales from around the world, from ghosts to aliens and the truly bizarre. Immerse yourself in the captivating world of true scares. Share your own ghost stories, summon your courage, and perhaps keep a nightlight close. Brace yourself as you tune in to this chilling podcast experience. Remember, it's just a podcast, or is it?
Cults and realistic killings, the disturbing histories and practices of various cult groups, as well as the violent, ritualistic killings sometimes connected to them, make for chilling and captivating content. By exploring the psychological ideology and criminal acts of these extreme fringe groups, we're going to shed light on the darkest corners of human behavior.
Welcome to our podcast where we delve into some of the most horrific real-life events that have happened in the news. From gruesome murders to devastating natural disasters, these stories will shock and disturb you.
One of the most notorious cult groups in recent history is the Manson family, led by the charismatic and manipulative Charles Manson. In the late 1960s, Manson assembled a group of devoted young followers who carried out a series of gruesome murders, including the high-profile slayings of actress Sharon Tate and several others. The Manson family killings were marked by their shocking brutality and the cult's apparent motive of inciting a race war known as Helter Skelter. What makes the Manson family such a compelling subject? Well, it's the cult leader's ability to brainwash his followers, the grisly nature of the crimes, and the lingering questions about the true extent of the group's activities and plans. We would want to be captivated by an in-depth exploration of Manson's background, which is the psychology of cult indoctrination, the testimony of former members, and the aftermath of the murders that shook the 1960s America to its core. Another chilling example of a cult connected to real ritualistic killings is the Heaven's Gate group, led by Marshall Applewhite. In 1997, 39 members of this cult committed mass suicide, believing their deaths would allow them to board an extraterrestrial spacecraft trailing the Hellbach comet and reach a higher plane of existence. The disturbing details of the group's beliefs, their preparation for the next level, and the methodological manner in which they carried out the suicide make it for a profound, unsettling listening. We're going to delve into the Heaven's Gate cult, and we're going to examine Applewhite's background, the group's strange mix of science fi and religious ideology, the testimonies of former members, and the lasting impact of the tragic mass suicide. The cult's premeditated ritualistic approach to their own deaths add an extra layer of horror. A final example of a cult connected to a ritualistic killing is that of Shinrikyo group in Japan. In the 1990s, this doomsday cult orchestrated a series of attacks, including the 1995 sarin gas attack on the Tokyo subway that killed 13 people and injured thousands more, led by the self-proclaimed enlightened one Soku Hashihara. Aum Shinrikyo engaged in a disturbing blend of religious extremism, scientific experimentation, and violent criminal acts. We're going to explore a little bit about Shinrikyo, and we're going to dive into the cult's origins. Ashihara's twisted teachings, his recruitment and indoctrination of members, and the group's systematic efforts to stockpile weapons and launch attacks. The cult's fusion of spiritual beliefs and technological powers, as well as the profound impact of their actions, make for timely true crime stories. These are just a few examples of the many cults and ritualistic killings that have shocked the public's consciousness and could serve as the focus for more true crime episodes, which in the future we will have. We're going to delve into the psychology, ideology, and criminal acts of these extreme fringe groups, and we're going to tap into our deepest fears about the potential for human beings to commit unspeakable acts in the name of twisted beliefs. The combination of cult dynamics, religious phantasm, and horrific violence makes for a stone listening. We're going to return right after this with our final segment, Unexplained Disappearances. I'm Joseph. Hang tight, children.
Join Joseph as he guides you through spine-tingling tales from around the world, from ghosts to aliens and the truly bizarre. Immerse yourself in the captivating world of true scares. Share your own ghost stories, summon your courage, and perhaps keep a nightlight close. Brace yourself as you tune in to this chilling podcast experience. Remember, it's just a podcast, or is it?
Unexplained disappearances. Few things are more chilling and captivating than cases of people who have vanished without a trace, leaving behind only unanswered questions and lingering mysteries. Unexplained disappearances where individuals simply seem to vanish into thin air make for gripping content. And we're going to delve into the haunting details, explore potential theories, and grapple with the unsettling lack of closure. One of the most famous and enduring unexplained disappearances is that of the lost colony of Roanoke. In 1587, a group of over 100 English settlers, including women, children, arrived on Roanoke Island off the coast of what is now North Carolina to establish a permanent colony. Just 3 years later, when a supply ship returned to the island, the entire colony had vanished without a trace. The only clue left behind was the word Croton, carved into a post, leaving historians and researchers baffled for centuries. Numerous theories have proposed to explain the fate of the lost colony, from the settlers being massacred by local Native American tribes to them choosing to assimilate into indigenous communities, to them succumbing to disease or starvation. But without any definitive evidence, the disappearance of the Roanoke colonists remains one of the history's most perplexing mysteries. Another well-known instance of unexplained disappearances is the case of the Vanity Isles lighthouse keepers. In 1900, 3 lighthouse keepers, James Ducott, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, vanished from their posts on the remote Vanity Isles off the coast of Scotland. When a supply ship arrived to bring the men food and relief, they found the lighthouse abandoned, with the keeper's personal belongings, and the dinner still sat on the table. An investigation found no signs of a struggle or foul play, leaving authorities baffled as to what could have happened to the 3 men. Theories range from the keepers being swept away by a freak wave to them meeting with some other unexplained tragic fate. The eerie, unanswered questions surrounding the Vanity Isle disappearances have made it the subject of countless books, documentaries, and even a poem by William Wilson Gibson. A true crime content speculations we're going to examine, and the lasting cultural impact that it has had in maritime mystery. A final example of an unexplained disappearance is that as Missing 411, chronicled by researcher David Pauletis. Pauletis has documented hundreds of cases, primarily in national parks and wilderness areas, of people, often children, experience outdoorsmen vanishing without a trace. Under highly unusual circumstances, the lack of evidence, the strange patterns and details in many of these cases, and then wide geographic spread of the disappearances have led Pauletis and many others to believe there is some unexplained force of entity at work. A true crime podcast exploring the missing 411 phenomenon is going to delve into specific case studies, various theories proposed by politics and others, and the unsettling implications of people simply vanishing from remote locations. The lack of closure and the sense of the unknown lurking in the wilderness could not doubt captivate listeners and leave them deeply unsettled.
Welcome to our podcast where we delve into some of the most horrific real-life events that have happened in the news. From gruesome murders to devastating natural disasters, these stories will shock and disturb you.
These are just a few examples of the many unexplained disappearances that have baffled investigators and captured the public's imagination. By meticulously examining the known details, exploring the diverse range and theories, and grappling with the profound lack of closure a true crime content will tap into the deepest fears about the fragility and the human existence and the unseen forces that are working in the world. The unanswered questions and eerie unknowns at the heart of these disappearances make it perfect and captivating to chill our audience. Paranormal phenomena. We will get to that subject right after this. I'm Joseph, and thank you for our hour-long episode today. I'm so glad you could be with us. We'll be right back, Shillings.
Welcome to our podcast where we delve into some of the most horrific real-life events that have happened in the news. From gruesome murders to devastating natural disasters, these stories will shock and disturb you.
The exploration of documented accounts and first-hand experiences where ghostly encounters, poltergeist activity, and other unexplained supernatural occurrences can make unsettling and captivating content. By delving into the personal narratives, scientific investigations, and cultural significance of these paranormal phenomena, we're going to tap into humanity's deep-seated fascination with the unknown. Perhaps one of the most well-known and chilling examples of paranormal activity is the Enfield poltergeist case that unfolded in the London suburb in the 1970s. This series of strange occurrences centered around the Hodgson family, particularly their two young daughters, Janet and Margaret, who were allegedly subjected to a wide range of unexplained and terrifying phenomena. Witnesses reported objects levitating, furniture moving on its own, disembodied voices, and even the girls being physically assaulted by an unseen entity. The Enfield case drew the attention of paranormal investigators, including the renowned demonologist Ed Warren, who were baffled by the scale and intensity of the activity. While skeptics have offered natural explanations, many believe the Enfield poltergeist was a real and profoundly disturbing supernatural event, a true crime content. So we can explore the personal testimonies, the scientific analysis, and the lasting cultural impact that it's going to have. Another documented instance of apparent paranormal activity is the Amityville Horror House. The Amityville horror case, which began in 1975 when the Lutz family moved into a home in Amityville, New York, that had previously been the site of a gruesome mass murder. Almost immediately, the Lutz family began experiencing a wide range of unexplained and terrifying phenomena. From strange odors and fluctuating temperatures, so horrific visions, and the sense of an evil presence, the Amityville case gained widespread attention, spawning numerous books, films, and ongoing debates about the validity, of the Lutz family claims. While skeptics have accused the Lutzes for fabricating or exaggerating the events, the sheer volume of testimony and the psychological impact on the family led an undeniable air of authenticity to their accounts. We're going to delve a little bit into that as well, and the cultural legacy of the inaugural horror, and the lingering questions about the existence of supernatural forces. These is a final example of a well-documented paranormal phenomenon in the Brown Lady of Raymond Hall, a ghostly figure that has allegedly been seen haunting the grand staircase at Raymond Hall in Norfolk, England since the 1930s. Described as the spirit of Lady Dorothy Townsend, who died under mysterious circumstances in the early 18th century, the Brown Lady is said to appear as a floating, transparent woman in a long, brown dress. The most famous sighting of the Brown Lady occurred in 1936 when two photographers from Country Life magazine captured what is considered one of the most captivating and convincing photographs of a ghost ever taken. The image, along with numerous eyewitness accounts, has cemented the Brown Lady's status as one of the most well-known and chilling paranormal entities in the world. And these are just a few examples of the many well-documented paranormal phenomena that has captivated the public's fascination and could serve as more gripping episodes. And we will delve into first-hand accounts, scientific analysis, and the cultural significance of these unexplained occurrences. And we're going to tap into their deepest human fears and curiosities about the unseen forces that may exist beyond our understanding. The sense of unease and the profound lack of closure surrounding paranormal events make them ripe for exploration and an immersive audio format. As we have explored, the world is filled with bone-chilling true stories of unsolved mysteries, haunted locations, creepy urban legends, and the darkest depths of the human psyche. But the true terror lies in the unknown, the unanswered questions, the unexplained phenomena, and the unseen forces that may be lurking all around us. Just when you thought you heard the most disturbing tales, that true crime podcast you've been listening to, we unveiled an even more spine-tingling lineup for the next episode. So prepare to delve deeper into the abyss as we uncover the curse of Oak Island, exploring centuries-old mysteries and strange occurrences surrounding the infamous island, where treasure hunters have searched in vain for untold riches and maybe something far more sinister. The disappearance of the Beaumont children, the chilling 1966 case of three young siblings who vanished without a trace from an Australian beach, launching one of the country's most perplexing unsolved mysteries.
Step into
The Black Dahlia murder revisited. The grisly 1947 killing of aspiring actress Elizabeth Short, whose gruesome death is mutilated by her body, sparked one of the most infamous unsolved cases in Los Angeles history. You thought you knew fear, but the true terror has only just begun. Join us next time as we peel back the layers of darkness and delve into these blood-curdling true crime stories that will leave you sleeping with the lights on. And remember, children, don't be so scared. I am Joseph, and join us real soon, will ya? Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. You can now hear us on Apple Podcasts. And you can also send me an email at trueandscarypodcast@gmail.com. Send your video, send your audio, record your story. I will feature you on the next episode of True and Scared. Lights out, children. See you next time.
Step into the shadows with Joseph as we unravel spine-tingling tales of the unexplained. From ghostly whispers to encounters from beyond, let's confront the chilling truth together. Facing the unknown can be daunting, but remember, you're never alone in this dark abyss.
Welcome
Were
to
you
our
ready to embrace
podcast
the
where we
eerie
delve
and unveil
into
the
some of the
mystery?
most horrific real-life events that have happened in the news. From gruesome murders to devastating natural disasters, these stories will shock and disturb you.